congratulations to the winners. We have had, there has been 4 different categories. Increasing, new next praxis, deepening and diversifying. Yesterday, we had the ability to speed date with you, so we know some of the audience know already a little bit about the projects. But today we will lift up 2 aspects from each of you, telling us of what is most important for the achievements. Unfortunately, we could not have Maria Utsi with us today. She had to catch a flight. So we will start by looking a little bit on what she said during the prize yesterday. So.
Jeg må helt sånn på ordentlig bare si fryktelig tusen takk til styret og de ansatte i Festspillene som har omfavnet dette prosjektet. Det er integrert i alt, i vår ryggmarg, i alt vi gjør. Jeg må få takke Chili, vårt kommunikasjonsbyrå, som er her med 2 stykker, Hege og Jan Roge, og som har fulgt oss hele veien, og som sponser og bidrar og jobber døgnet rundt for å gjøre dette mulig. Men mest av alt, dere. Så er det altså 12 mennesker som er de modigste, klokeste, rauseste jævla folkene jeg noen gang har truffet. Og som kastet seg inn i kunsten! Festspillpilotene. Fantastisk. Og la meg bare avslutte med å si, jeg sa det tidligere i dag, men jeg har lyst til å si det igjen når dere alle er her. Det er ingen motsetning mellom kunstnerisk kvalitet og publikumsutvikling. Husk det, si det hver eneste dag. Og man kan endre verden med kunsten, en publikummer av gangen, og det skal vi faen meg gjøre. Takk for oss.
That's wonderful. I wondered, Bodil Kjellstrup, you know the work with the festival profiles in Festspillene in Nord-Norge. May you tell us a little bit about them?
I sure can. Now you have to imagine that I'm half the body weight, have way cooler shoes and blonde hair and glasses. I'll try to do this as Maria would have done. Hi. The festival pilots are the pilots of I can't actually wear them because you get quite dizzy. The festival pilots are actually people who normally are not in the front of the line, who does not stay outside the ticket office 4 days ahead to buy tickets. They are picked out, they are given tools to understand the different performances during the festival. They are giving an introduction to the program, they get to meet artists, and they dive into the program at the Arts Festival, how they want to do it. And they share their experiences. Thereby we open doors to a lot of people that normally would not attend the Arctic Art Festival. And we give new perspectives on the content of the festival. And that's cool.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Now, in honoring the Henny Jonstad Art Center, the jury articulated that the center during the last 6 years have changed fundamentally from attracting an established art audience, living close by the center and being of a higher age, to having a much more national and international fundament. What would you say would be the main 2 things that you've done to succeed in this area?
Long planning, long perspectives, setting up a vision and act accordingly to the vision and to the strategy you planned for, and involve all your employees in it, both in understanding it, in the values you want them to promote, and create an aspect of belonging through a common goal. I don't think you can succeed anywhere without doing that today. Then, secondly, taking care of the framework of where the art is presented, which is the building, which really badly needed maintenance. It looked like a really badly run regional art center. Nothing wrong about regions, but we really wanted to present art in a national quality. And then the framework has to have that kind of quality. So we've been really heavily working on what kind of values we want to create: enthusiasm, pride, and precision. Precision in everything. And I think those three values have been implemented quite well within the staff. So we work for a common goal. And then the goal has to be good, of course, and we have to have good art. Without good exhibitions, we don't have an audience. And we see that even though we are working towards becoming a destination, an art destination where you can stay for a longer period, we still need the good exhibitions. It's not that people come without a good program. So we're totally dependent also on the artists, which we haven't really talked much about, but there is no art institution without the artists, and they are, of course, the one giving us all the wonderful content that we can present.
Now, may you give some more precise examples of how the values are integrated into the program and to what you exhibit? You told me in beforehand that you actually present less art to have more audience, and that might sound like a paradox.
Well, I mean, once you've set up a goal and you have a strategy and you know what kind of where you want to go, you have to make priorities. And it's much easier to make priorities if you know where you want to go. And I mean, then you don't fall for the chance of, oh, that's a good idea, let's do that. No, you can judge it accordingly to the course you've set up. And that's where you reach your goal. So it's a matter of taking tough priorities, of course, saying no to and kill all your darlings all the time. And I promise you, I have a lot because I love art, and I really want to do everything at the time. But it's also a question of involving all people in the house in the decision making, so that you know that when you do a show, the people working in front line, selling tickets, selling stuff, know what the audience are up to, and that they are proud about what they're going to let people see. And if they are if they feel that kind of pride, then the audience will feel that as well. So, and also the enthusiasm has to be implemented everywhere. And if you run because you have too much to do and you don't have time to enjoy your successes, you don't feel the effect of the success at all. You just see something going on in the past and then you run for the next goal. So it's also about living with the decisions you make, and then you have to really give yourself time to do it well. And imagine doing market campaigns for 16 exhibitions, 55 concerts a year. It's madness.
So what happens when you are doing prioritization is, what happens? What effect does it really have?
What happens is that you have more time to involve everyone in the decision making. Once you've decided to do an exhibition, you can involve everyone in the process of the making of it, so that people really feel that they own the product you're making. And it makes my day a hell of a lot easier than if I would take all the decisions myself.
Sure, yeah. In Bergen, the library has got the award for deepening. And the jury said that Bergen Public Library can show a significant increase in visitor numbers and have been remarkably good at including underrepresented groups. The jury has chosen to award the Bergen Bergen Offentlige Bibliotek award for the measure taken in the dissemination. By allowing users to have influence over their own library, the library's democratic approach ensures commitment, legitimacy, and relevance in a wide variety of groups. Please tell us more about the two main points that you've been working with these last years.
Yes, you know, the new Library Act says that libraries should be more visible. We should be meeting places, not only lending books. So we try to be it. We ask people why they don't use the library. So they say that, oh, we had used the library if they had remember it was there. So we had to be sure they will remember us. We have to be visible and we have to get a lot of activities because then people remember that the libraries is something happen on the libraries. Every day something happen. So we throw out a lot of books on less than half of the visitor lending books. The other people come to the libraries to learn something. Learning center, we had a learning center and we had a space for young adults. And the priority was to the group you described was underrepresented. And younger audiences and new Norwegians almost. And we had a lot of activities. We invite much partner in the city to get together with us to get good activities. So we networking with both the art institution, with the students institution, and everybody now come to will cooperate with the library, and that's very nice for us. And with the young attendees, we throw out all the books of a big space and inviting to come with us and tell us what we should do to get the library more relevant for them. And that was a nice project. And after the project, we had to continue. We couldn't throw them out, so now we had 3 young adults and we had employed them, and they make the content in this room.
And how do they do that? In what way do they actually work and make choices?
Yes, they work after school 4 hours a week or something with one, they had one connection with one of my staff, each of them. And they all plan the activities and they also do the activities, yes.
And how did you administrate this change?
It's hard work because we had an old library, we had an old staff, and we had not more money than before. So you have to work with the staff, and you had to get new competences. And the staff was amazing. They had been through all these things in the 5 last years. We had some meetings with all the staff and trying to get new ideas and how should we make the strategy we had decided to do.
Good. So let's walk up north to Tromsø. You got the prize for next practices, and that's a prize given to activity that has not yet shown results. But still, the exhibition you had really extraordinary amount of visitors. So please tell us about your work with that.
I think that there are 2 factors that was the necessary had to be there for us to be able to do the project we did, and they all or both of them are related to new perspectives. Opening up the arena as a museum is an important value for us, and that it also include opening it up internally, thinking that every member of the staff of whatever knowledge base they have is important to the result and of the work that we're doing. It's a bit what you said, that the people on the front desk, as well as the director, can both have input to what is meaningful and important for the museum to work with, even though they have different knowledge bases, different backgrounds, different education. Thereby we get more voices into what Northern Norway Art Museum, Nordnorsk Kunstmuseum, should be when we talk internally. But if we only talk internally and think that we know what is relevant to the society around us, we are doing a very big mistake. So we also have to open up to different voices from the outside to do the task that we are set to do. And that is very important, and that shows very much in the project Sami Daida Museum, by being able to listen to the discussions and the issues relevant to our society. And we were able, together with Ridderdotter Museum, to pinpoint a project that we wanted to work with. We didn't know how we wanted to work with it. We knew that we needed to ask a question of why does it not exist a Sami art museum in Norway? When the discussion started between Ridderdotter Museum, the director there, Anne-Mai Olli, and our director, Jeremy McGowan, it started out as a thought on how we could do it. By being open enough to let new perspectives on how the result should be formed, by saying that we cannot do this as an exhibition because we have done plenty of exhibitions that has not shown a result on getting this question back on the agenda. So we had to do something else. So we did a museum performance. And to do a museum performance, we had to work in a different way. We had to use communication and all our graphic profile in a different way. And that was the main focus. We knew that we had good and interesting art from the Ridderdotter Museum's collection to show in this performance. But we needed to make a statement that was visible and people could notice for them to realize what kind of question we were asking.
And how did you communicate this?
What we did is that, hidden without people knowing it, we built up a new museum. We created the Sami Daida Museum. We used Nordnorsk Kunstmuseum's building. We used a collection from Ridderdotter. And overnight, Nordnorsk Kunstmuseum disappeared. The next day, Sami Daida Museum existed in the building. The front, the logos, everything said that this was another museum. The website of Nordnorsk Kunstmuseum disappeared. If you tried to enter it, you came to the website of the Sami Daida Museum. The Facebook page was up. Our signatures on email was different. So there was a whole new museum in town. And when we sent the press release on this, it was very important for us that neither Ridderdotter Museum or Nordnorsk Kunstmuseum should be the center of that. It had to come from the new museum, Sami Daida Museum. So it was sent out the morning that we changed the total profile. Thereby, that performance created a new reality, or a parallel reality, which stood on its own. And we disconnected the institutions from it, trying to create an alternative reality.
I have not seen the exhibition, but when reading about it, I find it really interesting that the design is so at front in this exhibition. And also the jury acknowledges that, and they say that they awarded the prize to encourage further development of the design thinking that forms the basis for the museum for performance. How would you pick this up? Can you work further with design specifically?
Indeed we can. Design is a tool that makes us emphasize on different elements of the artwork that is a part of our collection or visiting exhibitions or exhibitions we want to make. Design is an element that makes us be more aware of in what way we together with the artists or the curators want this to be a, what is the Norwegian word for etterlatt inntrykk? Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
How we want the, What do we want with this exhibition? What do we want by showing this artwork? What do we want by doing this performance? What is the feeling that we want people to have? How do we want to not form their response to it, but create arenas which challenges and maybe expands the audience participation? And I think we have to look at new ways on how to do it. I don't think that only showing one piece of art or one exhibition in a traditional way in a museum is the only way to go. But it doesn't mean that that is not also a good possibility. So we have to be able to be less afraid of doing new design elements, and because as long as that creates an interaction with the audience, with artwork, and not giving or putting the audience in a passive position, that is a goal that we have. We want them to interact and actually find different ways to interact with artwork.
Now in Bergen, there is this democratic perspective, making the public or certain persons able to choose a program and really take part in what's going to be there, be present. Will that be something you, how will you work further to develop this?
Yes, it's easy in Bergen because we use social media and we ask people, do you want to come to the library to make a program? Do you know anybody, researcher, anything, speaking about anything? Coming to the library, suggest the themes, and they come.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's very nice. So we make this further on. So now we had a few people who want to come to the library and speak about what they can about the themes that they are important for them. It's easy in Bergen. Yes, that part.
Yeah, perfect. And that's maybe specifically towards the young audiences. That's the theme of the conference. Would this kind of thinking be something that Jonstad may take into?
Well, we are a very different institution
Sure.
with a very different goal, and for the first, we're not for free, and we have to have an entrance fee because we're a private institution. We have to make money, although it is for free until you're 18. So we could absolutely learn from a lot of the projects being presented during these days here, I think. It's been incredibly inspiring listening to all kinds of projects being run by libraries, by orchestras, and institutions as well, to how to create this kind of democratic space. For sure, the exhibitions at Jonstad is complicated to change. It's long periods, long planning, but for a program we could also learn from what they're doing in other institutions. So I think this has been an eye-opener for us, listening to other kind of strategies involving children and teenagers in the programming.
Do you get a specific idea, something that you really would like to try to do?
Well, we have a list of things we really would like to do. It's just a matter of cost, actually.
But please tell us just one
well,
thing.
Of course, it has to do with programming of teenagers programming, what they would be interested in seeing, and they maybe also giving guided tours. They being mediating for us or instead of us. I think that would be very interesting to let them run the ship a little bit. But not all the time. It has to be a balance. But of course, it's very different from institution to institution. But overall, I think it's been incredibly interesting and creative projects.
We've learned a lot about young people today. What their challenges are, how they grow up, what do they meet, what's the world like today. In what matter do you, as an institution, reflect on these matters?
Well, I think it's incredibly interesting to see how the libraries have changed completely, because from being a place to have analog books, which some people still read, at least those over 40, and then becoming a site for meeting. And what it shows is that people are desperate for coming together in different ways, and we're all seeking for opportunities to experience things live and not only on a screen. So I think we need much more of that, much more initiatives who challenges the way we experience things, so that we don't end up being incredibly lonely with our Netflix accounts. So I think that's very interesting to see that. At Jonstad we have a big program for kids. We have summer schools, we have autumn schools, we have the Kulturskolen in Bærum have their visual arts and photography teaching in the house. So those kids are so privileged. I'm like, my God, they're so lucky. They can run around learning about art with a Picasso, a real Picasso, and then they can go down and make their own art. And I wish I'd experienced that as a child. So I think that's also very important for us to involve and include that kind of activity in the house. Some of it goes on during opening hours and some are not. So we keep open for that. And to expand that kind of programming, I think, is also equally important.
Yeah. What about you? How do you work with young audiences?
We have, I think that if you go through 9 years of school in Tromsø, you will have visited Nordnorsk Kunstmuseum. And that is because we have an elaborate outreach program that focuses on different workshops and different tours for kids, and which is a part of Den kulturelle skolesekken. But we have to think new as well. We just did a project on Svalbard where we have something called Kunsthall Svalbard, which is a branch of Northern Norway, Nordnorsk Kunstmuseum. We participated on Lybland, which is the LAN party in Longyearbyen. A bit far from contemporary art, maybe. But we thought we needed to get into the arenas where the youth are. They shouldn't always have to come to us. So we did a project together with Ice 9, which is an artist and media group where the kids focused on not only what it is to be young today, but what would it be to be young in 2068, where they actually worked on doing a role play with an avatar. And all of a sudden, just by doing that and using that as a tool, they did participate, they did contribute, they did play with the thought of what it is to live in the Arctic in 2068. I'm not sure they would have done that if we only gave them a tour and started talking about that in the museum. So we have to think of what kind of tools will be actually a tool to get into the dialogue with the young kids. I have been super inspired by all the other talks that have been here, and I think one of the things that I really want to take back and do that is easy to do is the thought of letting young people find the voices in older paintings, which was shown on one of the talks, where young kids actually interacted with an actual painting, but in a reproduced version, of course, using stickers. I'm not sure that anyone at my museum would be happy if I told them to go put stickers on everything that we had on the walls. But by doing that, we put the artwork in focus, and we ask the young ones to actually relate to one of the core elements of what we're doing. So we have to do both. Put the core elements in focus, but also use tools that are based on what the younger generations are used to working with. As being a 45-year-old person, I cannot decide on what tools or what elements the youth are interested in. So if we don't talk to them, we continue being an old kulturkärring who's trying to be younger than we are.
We just have a couple of minutes left. I wanted to ask you, what does this prize mean to you as an institution?
Big question. First of all, we are very honored, and I think even though if we hadn't been so lucky to go home with a prize, I think the process itself of being nominated and going through the internal discussions at the museum of why we should be nominated and what we should talk about on behalf of ourselves, of what we do towards the public, that itself had value. It triggered a lot of interesting discussions in the staff. And also to be able to have the dialogues with everyone who has approached us afterwards to discuss further collaborations. And the Sami Daida Museum is up for grabs. Anyone who wants to continue a version of it, stay in touch. We are happy to share that. And this will also, we cannot go home and be happy that we got this. We will take time to celebrate, indeed. But somebody said that they will watch us. And that is, I think getting a prize like this also asks something of us in the future. We have to be very aware and conscious of the choices we do in the work ahead. And we're looking forward to that. And we think that we will come back next year, get more input, and hopefully, or maybe, not get a prize to take back home, but to have new partners and new collaborations due to the eminent group of people here.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to all of you. I'm afraid we are out of time, but we are looking very much forward to follow your work further. Yeah, thank you.